haven't written in like a month and it doesn't feel good. You know that feeling when you want to write, you know you have the time to write, even if it is 30 minutes a day, but you go out of your way to avoid sitting down and looking at a blank page, and you just procrastinate. You tell yourself you'll start tomorrow, you'll start next week, you'll start after you attend this particular workshop or reading, but you never get to it. That's where I'm at right now. So lately I've been wondering, why can't writing be fun? Why can't it be enjoyable? Why can't I look forward to it the same way I look forward to meeting my friends or playing my favorite sport or watching a movie? Why does it have to be so boring or so not so fun? And I've come up with a few reasons just by journaling, and weirdly enough, it has helped me get back to writing. Hi friends, my name is Mohamed, and in this channel we demystify the writing process and talk about tools and habits that make writing, reading, journaling fun and enjoyable. The first reason why we don't enjoy writing, because the writing process does not have a reward system. We have been programmed for this instant gratification from social media, from getting our orders 2 days after we click, sometimes a day after, just from that fast-paced life that we are used to right now, and getting the reward right after we make the action. You go on social media and there's something to entertain you. You log into Netflix, there's a movie to watch. You go on Amazon and you can order your favorite anything and it comes to your doorsteps within a day or two. But writing does not work that way. It takes a very long time for you to get some feedback from friends or family, and sometimes those feedbacks are not so positive, and then it takes even more time for you to publish a short story after submitting so many websites and after many rejections, and it takes even longer to write a novel for you to get a first draft done, for you to review it to a second draft, to look for an agent that finds a publisher that accepts it after many rejections, then for the deal to be agreed on. It's just so much time before you can get your final product, your book, that reward, that sense of reward into your hands, and sometimes people don't even read it. And writing is like that, especially if you are someone who is trying to get published. It just takes a very long time. So focusing on the results will not give you enough of a motivation for you to continue writing. And instead, is focusing or enjoying the writing process. For me, sometimes I focus on just finding that moment when I'm writing and typing on my keyboard, and where my mind just go absent, where I enter that flow state, some people call it, where I just write without thinking about writing. My characters just speak by themselves, my sentences just type themselves, and the longer I can hold on into that thread, the more I enjoy the writing process. If I can just do that for half an hour, 1 hour a day, I am satisfied. Anything can happen that day and I will still feel like I have accomplished something. The next reason I actually realized after doing a practice exercise from a book called The 90-Day Novel is by Alan Watts, and is a great book because it walks you through a first draft of you writing a novel in 90 days. And one of the first exercises is just listing your fears. And when I listed my fears, I realized that my biggest fear was the fear of failing, of starting something, of starting a big novel that would take 2-3 years but would not be published or read or even be good enough. And the second part of that fear is the self-criticism or self-doubt that comes in a form of voice in my mind, where when I sit down to write, it tells me, you are not even a writer. Who do you think you are? You are writing in your second language. You think people will like this and you will be read like all the other writers or novelists that you admire? Anne Lamott talks about this in her book Bird by Bird, and she calls it station KFKD. It acts like a radio station when you sit down and write, and it tells you all the negative talks that is enough for you to stop writing and do something else. And this happens to beginning writers, to experienced writers, to even published authors who have been in best-selling lists or gotten awards, ever awards. It's a very human, artistic experience where you're always going to self-doubt, or you're always going to doubt yourself and your art and its performance in front of other people. The next reason that I think it plays a big role on us not enjoying writing is the lack of a personal why or a purpose for our writing. Why are we writing? What is the purpose? Are we trying to get published? Is it for our own self-reflection? Is it for us to record our memories the same way cameras record our memories? So having a purpose for your writing that's connected to your soul, not connected to a material gain, whether it's fame or money, because those things cannot be gained from writing. It has to be something deeper than what you are trying to accomplish, like publishing just a book? And for me, when I think about this question, I always remember as my younger self when I was reading like a book a week or even more than that, because I was in search of characters and people that looked like me, that had my similar experiences, that were told in a way that my eyes have seen the world. And for a very long time, I couldn't find those books. And this is why I started writing. I wanted to write books about Yemen, where I came from, where I was born, about the Yemeni experience in America and about the Muslim experience and what it means for us Yemenis and men or families or women to be alive in this era or in this time, and what does it mean for our history and where we came from. Because on the one hand, I will write stories that will represent my people, that they can feel connected to, they can see themselves in the stories in the literature world, but also it will be a window for other people to look into my culture and how beautiful it is, and to change the prejudiced narrative about, you know, Arabs being angry men or terrorists or all these other things that the media have shaped for us. Because the way I want to tell those stories is not through politics, because someone can just read the news for that. What I want to tell it through is the storytelling form. I want people to connect with the characters themselves as human. As long as I can write a good story that people can connect to and feel like they see themselves in it, even if they do not have the same experience that the character is having, then I'm happy. The next reason is that we do not have a set environment for us to write in. Now, we all work in different ways. Some of us work best in cafes where there is the white noise behind us of people buying coffee and talking. Some of us like to listen to music. Others just want a quiet place in the library or in their living room or whatever else. But finding that place is so important, and I've tested so many places. Recently, I thought if I can just write during my lunch hour, maybe take 30 minutes of my lunch hour and write at work and sit behind my desk, and that's all I do. And it failed miserably, because what ended up happening is that people will come over while I'm writing and tap me on the shoulder to ask me about an email that I was supposed to send, a meeting that we are scheduled to have the next day, and or what I was having for lunch that day. And it made me realize that writing during that time was unsustainable, and this is why I didn't write for a very long time. Then one day I listened to Tim Ferriss' podcast with Hazawi, and Tim Ferriss said that he writes when his social circle is asleep. For him, it works very, very late at night. He writes from like 10 to 2 o'clock, and that works for him. But for me, when I remember back when I was writing the most is during the very, very early morning hours. So from like 5 to 6, from 5 to 6:30, when I used to wake up very early and write before I go to work. So picking the place, picking the time is super important, is the only way that you can be consistent and for you to enjoy writing. And lastly is our hunger and emphasis over the product or the final destination. You are not a writer because you are published. You are a writer because you have chosen to be a writer, and for you, writing is something that's sustainable, is something that feeds your soul, and it gives you a positive energy and a way for you to tell the world something about yourself and about your own life. And in reality, you are going to write more often on a daily basis if you write daily basis or on a weekly basis. So the moments of big reward, like holding a book or publishing a short story or an article, are far less. You know, we have people that only publish one book in their lifetime, or 2 or even 3, sometimes none, and only published short stories. But the point is that those moments are far less than the moments you are going to sit in front of the computer or in front of a paper and just write. So for you to emphasize getting to the destination will suck away the energy that you need to wake up every day and write every day. So the point is to enjoy the process, not the result, because we have no control over the result. Some of us are going to be published, some of us are not. Some of us are going to have the ability to write every day because we have the time. Some of us are going to have kids and have family and other things that will take over. But the point of the matter is to try to find a place, enjoy the process, and have expectations for yourself that you can meet. I hope you can find the groove back into your writing and tell and write the stories that you only can write. If you enjoyed this video, I write a weekly newsletter on my writing process and about life insights that I come across and other cool stuff. You can sign up. It's called Increments. You can sign up using the link below. And in the meantime, thank you for watching and keep writing.